Good morning, everyone. This is Dan with the Spiritual Underground Podcast, coming to you from a different location at DTM Enterprises. We're doing this indoors today, remotely. The pandemic has sent us to connecting with one another in different ways than we used to. So we'll just roll with that in whatever fashion it makes it feasible. DTMWW.net. I am still doing handyman stuff. I'll just put my phone number on here, 502-292-7444. And you need some handyman work or woodwork in the Louisville metropolitan area. I am still operating. So you want to do that. I keep it safe. I stay clean. So if you need something done, people still have their stuff breaking and needing fixed. And a lot of people are doing, taking this opportunity to do improvements while they're stuck at home or what have you. So we can go check that out. 12-Step Spiritual Recovery, book by James Christopher Cone. Dissertation on the 12 Steps and a Deeper Dive. If you want that book, check that out on Amazon. And as always, Darren Frank's music is wrapped around this podcast. I kind of stole this idea a little bit from, I saw Joe Rogan since the pandemic thing's been having all his buddies in the studio. I guess they're the only ones that are still willing to show up. And I said, well, Chase here was the very first story that was ever told. And it kind of was the same kind of thing in a way, because at the beginning stories, I was wrangling my sponsees into coming to the show. Maybe they felt they had to. I don't know. I think they also wanted to. But it was easy and it was friendly and it was comfortable and it was an easy way to get it rolling. And Chase's story is actually, I think, like 100, which those ones that start with a 1 are all the people's stories. And I thought, well, hell, this is, I think that was October of 18, I think, that we recorded that. Yeah. So, but it didn't come out until the beginning of January because I had a lot of, I built up a little pool of podcasts and released a little batch all at once. Rather than just starting with episode 1, so to speak, and doing that. So you were the first story to be told, and so I thought, well, hell, I'll holler at Chase and see if he wants to come back on here, and we'll see like an update, because I know a lot happens in a year of recovery today, man. At least it seems to me. It goes in a hurry. And I think it's also important to check in a sense to show the. I guess, I'll just say the way I was going to say, show people out there that is still working in their lives. This is not one and done kind of thing where we, kind of check it off the list and move on to whatever's next.
Definitely. Yep.
It's something we keep on doing. So, good morning again. We did a little unofficial good morning off the side, and I always wonder if I should click our microphones on. I should maybe answer it, fire it up and just go. Good morning.
We
This is Spiritual Underground. Yeah, we'll probably hit some other territory. What happens is now and again I'll have some content like in the beginning that I think is valuable, and it didn't get on tape with people. Or I'll do this opposite, on the back end of it. I'll turn off the microphones, and me and somebody will talk for another half hour.
Right.
Like, wow, we should have just left the microphones rolling, and I don't know what that is about that inclination to hit this, to have like a hard end someplace. Bonk, click it off, and then keep on talking. So what's been going on, man? I know we got this whole change in our way of being here lately, into face-to-face meetings. Although some people are still doing it.
Kind of working through a new normal, I guess. It's weird. It's a weird time, that's for sure. I don't know. Not really sure what to think about it yet.
I don't mind not having the travel time to and from. It's kind of convenient to say, okay, well, it's meeting time and it's 5 till, and you can sit down and fire up the computer and go to a meeting. You don't have to drive the half hour. But I would still much rather meet. There's some in Louisville. I know there's some outside meetings going on, and I also see some people pitching bullshit them outside meeting directions. You shouldn't be doing that. Don't you have any concern for other people? And looks like a little like taking other people's inventories. I've said this a couple times, and recently. that whole your own conception idea we have as far as a higher power goes.
Yeah.
I can apply that principle in a lot of directions of your own conception of how you want to handle this thing. I honor your own conception of how to do this.
Yeah. I have opinions about a lot of things, I suppose, and it's never really done me much good to voice them too strongly. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, everybody's gonna do whatever they want to do anyway.
yeah. And I don't want to get, nobody likes that whole shoulda, or shoulding on somebody. Here's what you should be doing, and here's what you.
Hmm.
It's the quickest way. And I find myself somewhat in my old rebellious ways in some level here because there's two things I don't like, and I don't like either one of them a lot. I don't like you telling me what to do, and I especially don't like the government telling me what to do.
All right. I get it.
It's all there's some inner being in there that wants to balk at both of those things until I slow down and go, okay, Dan, no, they're telling us what we should be doing, and I am trying to follow that. One thing I heard somebody say is to follow it at the level that they're prescribing it, and again, to each their own. But they've said, don't meet in groups bigger than 10, and and
Yeah.
other things like that, and so. I kind of get a feeling they're probably just going. This is a slow clamping down, though, because if they just turned the clamp all the way tight right out of the gates, everybody would scream.
Yeah, I think it'll get worse before it gets better. But I think for a lot of people, it's kind of like that initial newness of something. It's kind of exciting a little bit, and then a week or two into it, it's like, oh shit, this is actually going to be a big deal. This is kind of tough. I don't know. So far for me, it's been kind of an exercise in gratitude. I feel like that's been something that I've leaned on in the past couple of weeks. I guess it's just, Teresa and I were talking, my wife and I were talking about this the other morning. It's like, I guess we could talk about this later in more detail if you want to, but
Go ahead, Doc. Dive
I
into it.
I fully believe in luck today. And that is something that has changed in the past, I suppose, year, really. I never really thought luck was a real thing that applied to me. I always believed that it was something that was made or something that I created myself, like a very egotistical approach to that kind of thing. But I have nothing but like a feeling of gratitude for the luckiness that I get. Like it's not really that big of a deal for me to stay home, and I'm comfortable. I mean, my job has not stopped paying me, neither has Teresa, so we're fine. And I know that that's not the case for a lot of people, and I don't know. It's just something that I've become aware of, I guess, in the past year.
So, what do you mean about like luck? Like you make your own luck, or what do you mean
I
by
used to,
luck?
I used to think that we would just, that real men make their own luck kind of thing. But I think that's bullshit, and I just,
I think I'm fortunate in a sense that I do have some privileges that others don't see. Is that the kind of luck? Is that what you? I'm still like I know some guys that are lucky in the way that they kill a big deer every year and don't really have to worry about it. Don't really have to work too hard at it. Seems like that big deer walks up to them every year.
well, I'll say this. I mean,
And
I think the harder that you work, the luckier that you get. That's for sure. I mean, that's definitely something that's, applied to even my sobriety, right? The harder I work at it, the better it is. And I think that applies. But I also feel like there's a level of just pure, like I should be dead 100 times. How am I even here? It
yeah,
doesn't make sense. That to me is just got to be luck. I mean, I guess some people, I'm calling it luck. You could call it your higher power. You could call it just some other thing. It is what it is. I don't know a good way to explain it, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
something that I am more aware of, I guess, this year than I was when I first came in here.
yeah. Uh, I get it. Um,
So
and my
I'm calling it luck, but it could be, call whatever you want. It's
right.
something that I don't have control over.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And yeah, like I said, I know I'm fortunate, and I do carry some privilege. We did some work in the Mankind Project about where we're privileged, and I want to balk at that too. Initially, uh, but
Hmm.
just being uh, frankly, I'll throw just a few adjectives out. A tall, fit, white male buys me a lot just for that alone.
Oh, sure, yeah. And
Just alone. And I
but
don't have to
somebody,
do anything. I don't even have to be a good guy. All they do is
yeah,
just see you and think, but they instantly. I don't receive the same prejudices that a lot of people do,
yep,
just
yep.
for
That's
that
what.
alone.
In the interest of, I think, you know, being completely honest and helpful. If somebody tells me that I'm privileged, it pisses me off. I don't
Right.
want to
That's what
hear
I mean.
that.
I'll balk at it right off.
Yeah, if like my wife has told me that I'm privileged before, and I'm like, what the, yeah,
I
you
worked
can't say
hard
that.
for where
I
I'm
worked
at.
hard for everything I got, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. No, some of the stuff, no, I didn't. I mean, I have worked hard, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, at some things, but there's a degree to which I didn't do shit for a lot of the stuff that I have. In fact, I have done the opposite of work hard for some of the things that I have afforded, like, especially when I think about my sobriety and I look at the people who don't have it or who have died because of this disease, and here I am. It's just really difficult for me not to just start every day with just some level of gratitude for
Yeah.
just being here. And I
Absolutely.
guess that's what I mean for. That's been something that I've just kind of realized after it's been a little bit easier to just wake up and do life. I don't have to worry about the drink as much anymore. I mean, it's still something that I think about, but having been sober for a little while, 988 days, I don't worry about drinking. It's been removed. I don't have to. That's not a thing I think about. So I guess I'm afforded a little bit more time to be grateful for
Right.
the fact that I'm not dead and should have been, many times over. But,
Yeah. When it was still a bit of a struggle, and I don't really, that timeline is different for everybody, but, and I really don't know when it happened to me, but I'm the same as what you're saying. I totally feel that, at some point during that, I could like turn my attention to something other than trying not to drink. And then that opened up
right,
some room. It's like, it's that same old, I got so many megabytes a day to burn, and I'm burning 75 of them staying sober. I got 25
right,
left for gratitude and family
yep,
and all that. Well,
exactly,
less and less do I have to burn energy actually, and some of it, like the book says, part becoming a working part of the mind. I don't, some becomes habit and natural, and it becomes a way of being rather than me having to actually apply it, so to speak. Like waking up and praying in the morning is not something I have to like remember to do anymore.
exactly.
It's become a natural thing to do in the morning. Uh, uh, it's interesting and I don't that whole. I listened to a lot of guys when I was 2 and 3 years sober and talking about how hard year 5 was. And I didn't find that to be so for me. Maybe 6 is going to be harder since this pandemic's around. I'm not going to manifest that on myself. I like.
Hmm.
I think it was Billy said to me, whatever. Every time he says somebody says how many, he always says that this is going to be the hardest one, no matter what you tell him. 27 years sober. Oh, that's the hardest one.
Yeah.
uh, so one of the things I did want to touch on, besides all this pandemic stuff, because that's one of the things I'm almost getting wore out on talking about it, but it's a hard thing not to talk about. I gave a
Yeah,
lead.
we can.
I gave a completely different lead at TSSR the other night, and it was like I
Yeah.
didn't. It's like I didn't even give it.
Yeah, everybody's like, well, he
I
didn't
was
talk
like,
about.
was I on mute when I did that? Because
Yeah.
nobody. Well, actually, one person really touched on what my lead was. The rest of it was the state of the nation.
It's a new thing, and people, I mean, there's a lot of people right now that haven't really gone through anything difficult, as a
Yeah,
nation, right? Nationally, this is the first thing that's ever going to be the one thing that they remember. Like I remember 9/11, and I remember exactly where I was when it happened. This is going to be a thing for a lot of people now that this is what they look back on, and I remember where I was when that happened, but
Yeah, you know, that's what you look back at these events that happen. You know, I mean, like I'm old enough to remember some of the Cold War stuff hitting my perimeter when I was a kid, and seeing it on the news. You know about and having this fear that Russ and Russia were going to be lobbing nuclear bombs at one another, and there was some TV show like The Final Day. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the nuclear end of the world,
yeah.
and it did have me scared.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid. You know, I didn't want to be scared about it, and everybody, mom and dad, kept telling me there wasn't a problem, and you know, and I don't really. That's one of them that sticks in my head. You know, obviously the whole and this is a little bit different, but still had a nationwide concern at a high level. The whole Y2K thing.
Oh
When
yeah.
the year 2000 was going to turn, you know, and it really was. It was real, right? I mean, coming into it, or at least they
Yeah.
had us convinced it was real. You know, it was kind of it sure was a big pop and fizzle, because nothing really came from it except for I think there was a pretty nice economy boost on the front end of it from people buying shit to stock up. The you know, we've had the things of you know, a few years ago was terrorism. You know, that was gonna you know, we're gonna be buckle up, get your polish up your ammo, lube your rifles. They're on their way. You know,
like
and we had some events, you know, and some things happened, and you know, 9/11 and that, and but overall, you know, none of those things really had a long-lasting effect.
Yeah, this is the new thing for sure. I mean, I don't think this is. I mean, really, I don't think this is that surprising. I mean, I feel like we have been told, and I don't know that you know, infectious diseases are going to be a thing that we have to really worry about. I mean, super bugs to worry about. I mean, this is going to be a thing that we'll have to face going forward. But like anything else, we'll get through it. This too shall pass.
Yeah,
I mean, we can definitely spend a lot. We are this again. Like I keep coming back to this. We're so lucky that you know we don't have to worry about so many things. So you know we get to focus on we get to make a a mountain out of a molehill because we can.
That's it.
Because we got most of our luxuries are already taken care of for us, and then something like this comes along. It's like, oh yeah, I got something to do now. I got some purpose this morning.
I need a bone to chew on.
So, but not to say that it isn't serious. This is serious, and I feel like we should take it that serious, and wash your hands, don't cough in your neighbor's face, and be careful. But other than that, I don't think we have to talk about it anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah, well,
I'm tired of talking about it too.
Yeah, I don't mean I don't want to talk about it, but there is a little exhaustion level on the topic, and how far I'm going to beat it up, right?
Yeah.
And then also
we're doing this on Zoom, so there you go. I mean, we're being responsible.
And even the places I go for some distraction, that's what they're talking about, right? All my favorite podcasts, all my every place I go, that's what's going on. I'm not well. Only time will tell, and except for in the areas that I'm being somewhat forced to operate differently, I'm really not operating that different than I would day to day anyway. I'm still going out and working. I went to Fargo yesterday and did a fifth step. I went to the park on Saturday. This whole school thing is going to change. I went in there to ask the kids yesterday. You got to handle, because today's back after spring break, right?
Yeah.
You got a handle on what you're supposed to be doing school wise. And of course, Carissa tells me yes, and I believe her, and Dustin tells me yes, and I ain't so sure. So we got to stop us because they've been on spring break and they've been staying up as late as they want to stay up. And Dustin will play at Xbox till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man!
Or later sometimes. And one morning I got up at 5:30 and he was still up.
Oh god!
And I said, well, we're going to have to end that, buddy. We're going to get back on a regular schedule here. Spring break is actually over. I think school's out for summer. Alice Cooper song. I think they think spring break is forever. And so he goes, I said, so we're going to start. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, I don't know, like midnight. And he looked at me like, that ain't going to work. And yeah. And I thought, well, that's pretty decent.
Is that too early or too late?
Yeah, too early. And I said, so like, what do you think? Because I do try to like give my kids some latitude a little bit. I'm not looking to rule with an iron hand anymore. I used to try and control my kids at that level, but I gave up on that along with this lesson thing with sobriety, just how little power I actually have with them, really. And he said, I don't know, 3. I hardly ever stay up past 3 or 4. I was like, of course, this morning I woke up and it was 4:30, and he was still in there with the lights on.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because he told me he would shut it down early, so I let him have the rope, and he didn't do that. So I guess I'll have to get in the phone and turn on the restrictions and unplug that Xbox at some reasonable hour. He said, school. I don't have to be at school until 1. Apparently, going to do video conferencing in school too.
Yep, yeah, they are. So it's going to be Teresa. My wife's a teacher, so she's getting ready to figure out how she's going to teach our classes virtually. I don't know.
This is a little sad.
And then so we've got like I'm working from home, and then we've got our kids here because we're not putting them in daycare right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are we going to take turns working? I don't know. This is
yeah, because it's not like your kids like mine. Mine are at the age that they entertain themselves and almost just as well not have me around. Yours require your attention, especially Romy. She's they both do, but obviously she's a baby still.
Yeah, Ezra less so, as long as we get, as long as he can keep watching the shows on Amazon Fire or whatever. But I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, man, moving on to the topic of recovery, and I know this is all topics of this health recovery today is trying to figure out how to navigate this world. It's just gotten particularly different for us. Like I said, kind of got settled into this routine, had something working for me, and now that routine's kind of, I'm going to have to find a new routine, or an adjusted routine, not really a new one. So, July, you celebrated 2 years. You're working on 3, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just a minute, because I forgot how close we are. We're closer to July than we are from July.
Yeah, we are.
This time just clicks along so damn fast.
It's crazy.
I guess that would have put. Let's see. I'll count that up real quick. So you were 15 months sober whenever you were on the podcast the first time. So you're damn near twice that much. Time and I watch these people like you, fortunate and blessed that higher power or luck maybe put us in each other's lives, and then get to watch guys that actually do the deal and implement these principles in their lives, and then like just by accident all these lucky. I'll just keep using that because I'm okay with that term. Actually, I just was kind of like, sometimes I think luck is like you got to roll the dice and a 7 pops up, or it's a little bit. It is a little open to interpretation. But to watch all these things happen in your life, and then the other thing, like my sponsor always told me, and I didn't understand it when he first laid out the ground rules, that when these things start happening to you, one of the requirements is one of the ground rules is you got to share the juice with me. Mm-hmm. And so we pass. I need my tank filled here and there, and it seems completely natural to me now to do that stuff. I'm always hard at my sponsor. I got home from doing that 5th step yesterday, and I know one of my duties is to report to him how it went. Share the juice. And you've always done a really good job of that too. You can just call me up or send me a text. Hey man, I got some juice to share. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of cool things happen to you since that podcast. And I know one thing too, I bet you can relate to this. If you knew you was going to have to be telling this story, you'd have kept better track.
No, I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, oh shit, I should jot down some things. He's going to ask me what happened.
I saw he picked up his pen. I know a couple things is that you've been sponsoring at least one guy, and I know there's more than that, but I know one was on the podcast, and he's been seeing these fruits of his labor, and that's even more juice from my standpoint to watch you get this thing, and then you get it, and then you give it away to somebody else, and then I get to have that guy on the podcast, and I can hear him and how his life has changed, and it really is a ripple effect where you feel, because I've never, I never really felt like I made a difference in the world, to be honest. And at one point in my life, I didn't give a shit if I did or not, really.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make a difference. I ain't no role model.
Right.
Wasn't that one basketball players that said that? I can't remember which one of those. Charles
Sounds
Barkley
about
or
right.
somebody like that.
Who knows?
Or maybe it was no. What's the other one? The one that was on the Bulls team with Jordan.
Oh, you talking about Dennis
Rodman,
Rodman?
yeah, I think he
Yeah.
might have been the one that said that. I'm not sure, but so now that I caught you with your pants down and you're trying to figure out what's been going on, just share freely, period, about what life's like. It don't have to be events. We don't. That's not what we're.
Yeah.
I
Life
know you've had
is,
another baby.
yeah, life is good. Life is good. Life is definitely, I don't know, it's happening. I'll say that. Um, I'm having fun though, man. That's more than anything. If I look back over the past, you know, 2.5 years, 3 years, almost 3 years, it has been so much fun. I've just had a blast doing stuff. I don't know how to say it. This is the life that I never knew I always wanted to have. That's doing this. I would call it work because I feel like it is a job. It's I have a new employer. I don't know. I love every minute of it, even the difficult things and like this is back to the damn pandemic. But this is a real thing that's happening, and I hesitate to say this, but this is the truth. Like I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's a lot of things that I worry about, of course, but there's nothing that I really, really worry about. You know?
Yep. Yeah. I said when this first came to be, uh, it hit me that the other little things like a little struggle at work or unforeseen bill or whatever, all those things were really practiced for times like these. It just hit me like a hammer that I'm for the past 5 years I've been practicing these principles maybe for when this hit,
Mm-hmm.
so that I had a foundation to be able to go through this with some in a healthy manner with some grace and some gratitude, and not the panic I see in some places. You said you didn't go to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store. You said you've been doing the click list thing or whatever, right, to pick up.
Yeah.
I've been going in the grocery store. And I went in yesterday morning. Actually, on the way, I was grabbing up some food to take to that fifth step. And and 50% of the people in the grocery store were wearing masks.
Right.
And there was some time ago where I was in Asia a lot, and a big chunk of people over there wearing masks out in the public all the time, and it was almost like a regular thing.
Right.
And to walk into one of our grocery stores, here locally, and see that many people wearing masks was a little surreal. Except we got some of our people, they got designer masks. I seen one guy had one of these masks on that had like the teeth in the front of it, in his mouth. It had some big skeleton teeth or something.
Well, why not?
Yeah. And it's just a bit surreal. So you've changed your job. Hey, Bruno, no. That's where I want to get with some of the Zoom stuff. Is that, of course, Bruno bothers me out in the wood shop too. It's I think Christopher was telling LJ what to expect when he came to the podcast. He said, well, at one point the air compressor is going to kick on. He's going to get up and turn that off. And at some other point, the heat's going to need to be adjusted. And then Bruno's going to be knocking at the door. He's going to have to do something about Bruno. And I'm like, well, and that day with LJ, I don't think not one of those things happened.
No, of course not.
They got predicted, so they're not going to happen.
Yeah.
You've changed jobs. You've had a baby.
Yep.
Doing a lot of work around the house. Your house looks like a different house to some extent.
Yeah, we've like all those projects that we started 7 years ago that never got done. have gotten done.
Yeah, I remember the basement, and you're sitting in it.
Yeah.
I remember coming down there a couple times early on when it did look like something that had begun.
Yeah, it was like one half-ass wall that had been, that was my life. That you just start something and then never finish it. But,
Yeah,
and that still happens a little bit because that's just the way.
yeah,
Yeah, it goes. But stuff definitely gets,
yeah. But
you
more
know,
things are getting done.
yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the bigger, for me personally. I don't know if my wife would be the person to tell you if this is actually true or not, but I feel like for me, like the promises that I make to myself, I keep today.
Mm.
And that's definitely something that has changed. I used to never do what I said I was going to do. Now I tend to get those things done, and everything else just kind of falls into place. But you know, that's just one little thing.
Well, yeah, one little thing, and that's what it gets to be tough. That's why I was really uh, grateful that my sponsor encouraged me to start making them lists of things. Because I even started to put, what to a lot of people would be some relatively minor things on my list, on my miracle list, uh, because otherwise I'm going to forget them. And when I say that thing about if I knew I was going to if I knew I was going to tell this story, I kept better track. In
Yeah,
some regard, I have started keeping better track.
yeah,
Because things go by and you forget, and it becomes normal. And you've shared that in the meeting too. That these things, that I remember you saying one time. I took a little offense to it, but I understood your point. Same kind of way when these other things like the privilege thing, I'll balk at initially.
yeah.
It goes right in line with that thing that Bob Earl says, is that when something's working for you or you got something you like and you try to share it with me, I instantly reject it, and I still do
I
that.
know what you're gonna say too. I
Yeah,
remember this meeting.
yeah,
I remember
and
I remember the look on your face
I
when I said it.
I caught I caught myself doing it yesterday when we were on the way back from that fifth step, and I got offered a piece of candy, a cough drop, a honey cough drop, and
Yeah,
I said no, thank you. And I was like, "You dummy!" And I even said it out loud. I go, "Yes, I do. I do want one of them." And I said,
yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. And I instantly go, "No." She had a whole
Hmm.
bag of them. It wasn't like I took her last one. It wasn't,
Right.
it was, but yeah, when you said the miracle thing, but I do understand what you were saying in that meeting that, we it becomes normal. Things that happen for us, and I guess some of the words I've heard from other spiritual teachings are like the universe working for my good.
Hmm.
When I get aligned, when my compass needle is pointed towards my true north, and I'm in the flow of life, good things happening to me are no longer a miracle. They become a normal occurrence, and
Yeah, and I think that too, like your idea of what a miracle is evolves, and it should, right? Like
yeah,
like whenever I woke up and um, didn't want to go to the liquor store, the first thing whenever that wasn't the first thought, that was a fucking miracle, right?
right, yep,
Now it's like if I woke up and thought about going to the liquor store, I'd be fucking pissed. Like
yeah,
what happened? So it's a new
new
it's
way
a
of
new
being.
experience. Yeah, it says this is a surprise. This is a welcome surprise. It seems like something I could never have before, no matter how hard I tried. Well, it's a freaking miracle. And then if we do this the right way, if we do the work the way it's laid out for us, if we do it that way, these miracles become everyday experiences. So
Yeah,
less like miracles, but it's still like I am not somebody who can stop drinking. Yet here I am, uh, just carrying on completely sober without a thought about how to do it. That is a bit of a miracle. Like I didn't do that, and we do lose sight of that sometimes. And I think that's why it's so important to take a daily inventory. For me, it's always focused on gratitude. I mean, gratitude is the one thing that I have just that has just given me and not like on the worst day possible, I can be grateful and be okay. You
yeah,
know.
Yeah, and
And
that's in alignment with the way I was thinking. It actually becomes more important for me to be making sure I'm keeping that gratitude on the front burner because I begin to think this stuff is normal and I can lose my gratitude for it
mhm,
by not actually honoring my recovery and where I'm at in
right.
life today, especially compared to where I was. And that's also one of the things about I think that's one of the key components about continuing to hang around AA
Hmm.
because there is a piece of me, and I'm not so sure about this. So everybody, take a breath for a minute, don't flip. But there's a piece of me that says I don't know that I necessarily need to keep on coming back as much as I'm coming back.
Definitely,
But
yeah.
but one of the things is that I think I need to because if I'm not like doing that, keeping it green and staying around people who are still struggling and early in recovery, that makes it a lot easier for me to forget about how it used to be for me. Because I
Yeah.
really down the pike here for a while, man. That other me 5, 6 years ago, those memories pop up on Facebook. My
Oh yeah.
one popped up yesterday when I was in Bangkok at the beginning of my last debauch.
Hmm.
My divorce had just been final, and like 5 days later, I was on a plane to Bangkok, Thailand. And I was like, yeah, I was like 90 days
God.
sober.
Yeah.
uh, I'd
It's
been in
gonna end well.
I'd been in treatment for the first 7 days, 6 days of 2014.
Yeah.
I had like 90 days sober, and my divorce final, and I jumped on a plane to Bangkok, and uh, I don't think it was that. Looking back now, I don't think it was possible for me to my recovery to survive that.
No.
Yeah,
No.
but at the time I thought I could do it. Right? I told
Yeah.
myself I will. I stayed sober for 4 days in Thailand. Chase, don't tell me.
Hmm.
But when
That's
day four
actually
hit,
impressive.
yeah, I thought it was damn impressive. I sit down there and watch those guys drink beer for 4 days after work, and finally said, "Give me a glass."
Yeah.
They have these. They drink it on ice out of a big wine bottle sized beer bottle, and they just you buy them and pass them around,
Hmm.
and fill up your little glass with ice and beer.
Yeah.
And I would pass on the glass and pass on the glass, and then boom. But just like always, my history always showed that once I put that in me, I was off to the races. Uh, next thing I'm on the back of scooters riding all over Bangkok, getting
Yeah.
blasted and not making it to work in the next day, and it's just like home. But
Yeah.
those memories pop up, and I kind of giggle at those too because those will give me little reminders of what it used to be like. And when I get those ones past the 5 year mark, they usually ring some bell because I was usually roasted and putting some dumb shit on Facebook, and and now
Yeah.
Facebook is reminding me that I did
Yeah.
that.
It's painful. Yeah.
But staying around, sponsoring new guys, and staying around to circle back to that. That's why that's important to me. And I mean, I do the fellowship's important to me, and hanging out with my buddies and the dudes and honoring the people that helped me get where I'm at today by continuing to keep coming back. That was something that always landed on me about people like Becky, even and Big Jim, and some of these other people. And I don't want to leave anybody out, but those two in particular. Every time I came back, they were both there. So when they were
Exactly.
saying keep coming back, I saw that they actually were demonstrating it, because you can say it. That's one thing, right? But if I
Yeah.
come back and you ain't keeping coming back, well, I'm real quick. My disease is real quick going to find me excuse not to come back.
Yeah. It's yeah. We do this by example. That's how it's done.
Yeah. I like in Mankind, they always do stuff and they say, let me model that. And they will actually,
Hmm.
so when they're doing something, somebody will use those terminology. They say, here, I will model. And then now I got something to watch, somebody to watch and somebody to follow. And that's what we do here too, right? Although we don't say
Yeah.
that, we say, here, I will model what it looks like to live sober
Yeah.
and to
That's
practice
what
these
it works.
principles.
I
And
mean, I
as you
needed that.
watch me, and I'll help you.
Yeah. I remember, in college, I never could. I was a horrible student, and I could never study really by myself. And so I always go to the library, and then you walk in and you see other people study, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, this is what you do. You got to see some. I have to see it. I need to show me first, and then you know. I want to mention. Can we go back for a second? I want to
Absolutely,
mention
brother. We are
we
not
were
on
t-
a
we were
on an
talking
agenda.
about those miracles and gratitude, um, and how like that kind of idea of what a miracle is changes as we go along. Because like I just remember I keep having this thought of like what my morning looked like, and it was always wake up and drink first, or go to the liquor store if I didn't have any or whatever. And whenever that stopped happening, that was like a miracle. And I think in that meeting that we were talking about, that you balked at what I said,
Yeah.
was because I said that it's not necessarily a miracle that we do what we're supposed to do. Like I don't think today that I need some sort of pat on the back
All
for
right.
not going to the liquor store this morning and going to work instead. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
is what you're supposed to do. You don't always get you don't get a cookie for doing what you're supposed to do. However, I do think that we can do that for ourselves, but we also have to continue to push ourselves. And one of the things that I think has worked so well for me in this, sponsee sponsor relationship is that it is you know, it's less of a, I don't know the words. It's like you do get some attaboys for doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it's more of like a challenge group of guys
Yeah.
that I'm looking for, and that I have found in like our group, and you especially, or somebody who can, I've talked to you about some things, and you'll be like, well, I don't know about that. You're not always going to tell me what I want to hear,
Yeah.
and that's what I want, and that's what I try to model for my sponsees. And because look, we do a good job, of telling ourselves good job for doing the things
Right.
that we should do. Like, hey, you didn't get drunk today, good job. In the same light, it's like, look, fucking be better. Like, you weren't supposed to get drunk today, you idiot.
Yeah.
uh, so your miracles should evolve, they should change. Your What is amazing to you, at least that is my hope for myself. That's my hope for my sponsees, and everybody, really. Like, I hope that your miracles get harder. You know, I hope whatever is happening in your life continues to be challenged, and you know, therefore it grows, it gets better. If we don't challenge what we think a miracle is, then, I mean, being okay just to wake up and not get drunk is the miracle. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That's all you get. But we've always said, I want more. In my opinion, the recipe for more is to challenge what we think is amazing in our
Yeah.
lives.
Well, the same miracle day after day after day is not no longer a miracle.
Yeah.
It might have been in the beginning, but you can't say. Uh, but just you can't. It just no longer becomes that. So yeah, you're right. That's all that behind that concept of continue. That in our deal, continue to improve your conscious contact. I like to stop there today because I can improve my conscious contact lots of places. Continue to add to the things in my life that bring quality to my life. Add
Mhm.
to things that'll do that. You know, I'm not really. One of the other things is, it kind of can sometimes look like this deal where you're doing this stuff, and I had to be real careful about that. I watch myself because it was part of my old traits, was doing things that I knew you would like to see me do. That you would give me
Yeah.
accolades about.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, and I got to be real careful nowadays that I'm not like I'm behaving in that same on those same principles there. That I'm doing things that that truly do bring me an inner peace and an inner joy and an inner feeling of accomplishment and stuff. Not
Hmm.
things necessarily so that you'll say, "Good job, Dan."
Yep.
And I do a lot of things that are in the face of people, and and I know that well, it's come to light lately. Some of it gets looked at from a different angle sometimes than what I'm hoping, than what I want to project.
Hmm.
But it's not for that outer stuff anymore. Uh, it's not to impress my father so he thinks I'm successful. It's
Hmm.
not if that comes along with it, okay. But that's
Right.
not my aim today. Is not to please these other people, because at one point it was really what it all was is just to fool these other people into
Yeah.
thinking I was okay. Uh, I gotta really, and it's another sixth sense thing we have around our rooms and stuff. When people come to you and they, they're not really okay,
Sure. Yeah.
but they look like they are, or and you can see it on the face of the people pretty well too. You can not even really have
Oh
to
yeah.
have them say much. You can look over and go, something's up with him at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, well, we get really good at masking that and letting everybody see us be okay. But I did that all the time. I was always, my primary focus was to make sure that I looked okay.
Yeah,
I was like hurting so bad all the time. It was just miserable. Even like physically hurting. Like it was painful to keep up that, like I go to the gym half popped, drunk in the gym, just trying to, I made it in there today. You all saw me, right? It's
right.
like,
Yeah. See, I'm okay. See,
yeah,
I'm okay.
oh, it's horrible. But
It's got to play
anyway,
some level. There's a lot of places I look at myself where I used to be like ultra that way, and how I've let down my guard in some of those kind of places. My hair's wilder and shit most days today, and that would
you
have
got it all,
well, it's still back from like
you got it all
having just
slicked
woke
back.
up at the moment. It won't be that way for long. It's just because I'm sitting still. It's just
Yeah.
happens. It's just left over from just brushing it. Once I get out and moving around,
Yeah.
and my headphones are holding it back too. But some days I look and I go, God dang, dude, man, get a haircut. And now I'm
Yeah.
screwed because I can't. I'm going to have to find somebody.
Yeah.
The barbershops are even closed. What a time to let your hair grow out.
Just take it off, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to check out some long hair. I realized the other day I felt it going down my back. I was like, whoa, man, my hair's all the way down to my vertebrae, poking out of my back. But what in yoga teacher training, they kind of one of the things that we were giving each other feedback, and somebody said to me and it was all constructive stuff, and you can take it or leave it. It's not meant to be barbs, but it stuck because it landed that hard, and I still remember today. Somebody told me, allow yourself to be messy, Dan.
Yeah.
Because that's something I tend to not allow myself, because that's back to your point. If I look messy, then y'all gonna know I'm a mess.
Right.
And I can't have that even after some years of sobriety. Those old teachings of trying to look like something I'm not, and they were really talking about my practice, because I was trying to be
Perfect. Yeah.
trying to do shit just exactly perfect rather than just flow and just do it.
Yeah.
Allow myself to be a little messy.
Definitely. I think there's a lot to be said about allowing yourself to make mistakes and roll through them. So that's one of the think beautiful things about this. The 12 steps are more than just if you allow them, they become more than just getting sober and staying sober. It becomes if you really put these principles to work in your life, it is very much a meditative practice in living, right?
Yeah, right.
And that's like one of the things that I realize now is that I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a living problem, and it was so much focused on the way that I lived that I forgot to actually do it, like live. These principles allow us to just freaking do it. Take action. Faith without works is dead, and if we don't do the work that it takes to live, we're never going to get to experience that fully. It's just like a half-assed fake version of it. When we get a little bit messy, that's how too. You're really doing it. You're really living.
If
I think about
if you're not allowing yourself to make mistakes, and if that's something, then you're not stretching yourself either. Because if you're stretching yourself, you're going to hit some walls, and you're going to bump your head and scratch your knee up and whatnot in life. And if you're playing a little too safe, there's no growth in that. You can't grow without doing a little stretching.
And that's something that I've learned being a parent. It's like there's not a single day that I wake up and it's this is how I wanted it to go. You know what I mean? I think about this is going to be really great. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to get the kids dressed. We're going to make it here on time. And then, Ezra's got swimming lessons and we're going to get there on time. He's going to get dressed just perfectly. It'd be great.
with a
And then,
smile on his face. And
yeah. And then, 10 minutes later, I'm like, wrestling a 3-year-old into a car seat. And this is a effing mucked up day already. And it just doesn't go. It doesn't go the way I want it to. And then that's when I suddenly realized that all those meetings that I went to when I wasn't really doing it, and these people were talking about how to get through stuff like that, they actually were on to something. I used to be, early in recovery, or, trying to get sober. I'd go to meetings and somebody be talking about how some little thing pissed them off. And I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with getting sober? And they're
yeah,
talking about the traffic lights pissed them off. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, maybe you're the asshole if you're still worried about traffic light, or some shitty driver. But, the more we do this stuff, I'm like, okay, it makes sense, because I had a living problem. I didn't have a drinking problem. I just, the drinking was a symptom of me trying to fix, manage, and control my life. It's that process of letting go. There's a ton of paradoxes in this lifestyle.
yeah, yeah. And they
One of one of the
certainly,
main ones is letting go of all this stuff, and then you just, once you do that, you get a better grip.
yeah, and that's such a loose concept too, because like, okay, tell me how to let go. Yeah, well, I can't really. I
Yeah.
can tell you how to practice a lot of things that will help you let go,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't tell you how to let go. Letting go
Yeah.
is like a byproduct of doing this stuff. And when you're early on, you frankly don't have the ability to do it.
Mm-mm.
But as time goes by and we practice these principles, whatever that elusive letting go term is, uh, it comes. I keep on finding myself bouncing into Bob Earl lately. Uh, More talks, it seems to come in and out, and all the online recovery communities, or most of them, seem to be like thriving under these current conditions. It's causing people to go there to get their stuff where maybe they didn't have to before, to be into contact with other people. So it's livened up some things. And there's a Facebook page that's dedicated to the memory of Bob Earl, and people are posting tapes and things like that on there. But I love when he talks about letting go, and one of his talks about having a problem with the dude, and somebody said, "Well, you just got to let it go." And he's like, "Well, first I'm going to go in and I'm going to punch the wall a few times, and I'm going to kick and scream, and I'm going to take a wiffle ball bat out to, and that's one of the things he likes to do. Takes a wiffle ball bat to his punching bag and release that energy. And I'm going to scream and yell, and then I'm going to go tell that person, speak my truth to that person, and tell them just exactly how they've affected me. And then I will go home and I will pray about it, and then I'll let it go." So he's talking
Yeah.
about, he's going to go do some things. And I really do love that whole expression. It's a mankind thing, and it's something that my sponsors taught me to do. It's not really a recovery tool. But for me, I have to exert some energy when I have something that's bumping me like that, something that hits me in life, rather than just let it go. And I had to physically let it go, and I can't do it some people actually will release it actually through the regular exercise practice or that kind of thing. Have to do more of like a targeted aim at that particular thing. And that might mean screaming in the car. It might be out in the wood shop. It might take some physical activity to do that. But I have to do something to actually physically wring that energy, physically and usually verbal for me also, physically and verbally express that out in order to get to then be able to let it go.
Yeah, definitely. I do all those things. I mean, I have to. I mean, you know how serious I am about working out. That is like one of the areas that I put that energy into. Like, I'm gonna stack up the weight, and like, if this doesn't crush me, I'll be stronger afterwards. And it is like the thing that I'm pissed off about is what I'm lifting. I got a punching bag in there, and that thing, I just go wail on it, and whatever it is. I write a lot too. I journal it out. Like, so a big part of me, man, is like, dealing with other people, especially people that I think are stupid. And, it's like, I need them to know that they're stupid. right? It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
like I need you to know. I need you to feel your stupidity. It's like a thing that I'm experiencing when dealing with certain people, and like that's wrong, right? I know that that's not how I should behave or live, or it's not even worthwhile. Like once they do actually know, because I've experienced that too. Once I've made somebody feel stupid, then I feel bad. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
that didn't work either. I don't feel better, so I write it down. Write it
Yep.
out.
Definitely another way to get that expressed out, and it can
Yeah,
come in the form of journaling. That's something I've never really picked up. I know it's something that you've done, and some other people that I work with have done it, and I encourage it. I think it's an awesome way to express yourself and to get some of that energy out. It's
hmm
the same, has the same type of energy as like what our 4-step inventory has.
yeah,
Some
exactly.
magic about writing that out.
Yep.
That there are some, and again, it's can't tell you why or how, but I just
Yeah.
know that it does work.
I do it in the morning and I do it in the evening just to, and even if I don't have a lot to start with, I'll do three things. I'll do something that I'm grateful for in the morning, and then I'll do something that has been going uh, poorly or something that I need to improve in my life. So there's a bit of like self criticism, and then I'll write down three or so things that went well, like so three successes,
Yeah,
and that'll get me started. Usually, in one of those three things,
prime the
there's
pump.
there's something that it's gonna, that I'll have to uh, work on there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's just something that's been helpful for me to get that stuff out.
yep. Primes the pump. It's not unlike this podcast. You got to kind of get the wheel started and just make some shit up and start blabbing before some content will actually start flowing of any value.
Yeah, and again, and like, look, none of that stuff has to do with drinking or doing drugs either. None of it has to do. Most of that stuff never has anything to do with, which is something that this is so. At 2.5 years sober, going into this program, I thought, you go into AA and or any recovery meeting, for example, and you think you're gonna figure out how to stop doing this, and it hasn't really. I mean, you do stop, but then you get to begin the work. It's after you get sober, stop drinking, then you get to start the real work of what recovery is,
Yeah,
and that you mentioned this at the beginning. That continues on, and it's not something that you stop. You can't, because then we inevitably do revert back into our old habits that inevitably lead us into
yeah,
the drinking again.
right. Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not just, this work that we do is not, it's not like I don't go about not drinking all day. I really don't do that at all, and that's a gift of this program, because that'd be freaking miserable. If I was just not drinking all the time, I would just be like, F this, I'm gonna drink.
yeah,
this is
yeah.
this is not gonna work out well. I trailed off there. I had a thought that I was trying to pull back in, but I can't remember
There's a
it.
line in the book that mirrors what you just said, and it says, "We believe the cessation of our drinking is only a beginning."
Yeah, exactly.
I like Earl H says this thing goes so far beyond not doping and drinking. It's
Yeah,
unreal. That you think, like you said, I believed in the beginning that's what my aim was. I really did,
yeah,
but that's the only thing I could focus on. I mean, it was the big giant elephant in the room, right? I had to squeeze that damn elephant out of the damn living room before I had any room to have any guests over. Guests are the other piece of life that I was
yeah.
missing. And it is until I get that out of the way. And that's one of the things I see, like right now I have somebody in my perimeter, and it's my distant perimeter, but it gets tossed in my lap all the time, that has all these problems. Well, I know what the problem really is.
Yeah.
This person really only has one problem right now.
Yeah.
But uh, the people around him and himself want to blame work, uh, the pandemic, any number of other things going on that are his
Anything else?
problems.
Yeah.
Anything else? I really
Anything
do.
else?
I take I have a piece of joy in me that I just giggle about. Is that I would rather be diagnosed with cancer than be labeled alcoholic. I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
rather have like schizophrenia or bipolar or have some kind of psych diagnosis
Right.
diagnosis than have been labeled alcoholic. Now that's in the past, I'm speaking from a
Right.
back, and and I listened to somebody talking about a major company in our here, a major uh, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but a big company here in Louisville that sends a lot of people to rehab, and those people will get themselves self-directed into the psych ward because that's where they went to go get, well, one thing, and the guy told me the other day, he goes, well, one of the reasons why that is, don't you? And I go, well, they won't face their alcoholism first off, and he goes, well, actually, yeah, I get that. He said, but when you go to psych, they don't drug test you. That's an interesting thing, but it's interesting. They would rather go over and deal with the potentials of having a psychiatric disorder than to stop the intake of some chemical.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. We are crazy people.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, that's it goes along that same thing of yeah. Damn it, I lost it. I had it and I lost it. Go ahead.
I remember what I was thinking about with all that earlier. So I remember when I first came into the program, like you fight this thing, you fight the inevitability. Like once, so I mean, I knew I was an alcoholic a long time ago, right? I knew that. I pretty much accepted it, and it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'm still not gonna quit drinking. And so you start coming into meetings, and you get it thrown in your face, and there it is. You're not really accepting it, and at some point, and I think for me it was really July of 2017, and I was like, all right, I cannot do this anymore. So I will accept what I thought was going to be my life, which was a shitty, experience of just not drinking. And I thought that's what I was going to do. I was just going to not drink, and I'll have to figure out a way to be okay with my life sucking.
Acceptance is the answer to all your problems today.
Right. So, but I thought it was going to be shitty. I thought it
Yeah.
was just going to be like, this is going to suck. And going into a meeting, the biggest fear that I had was that I was going to have to live not drinking anymore. I mean, it wasn't like I knew I had to, because it was very clear for me. You either keep doing this and go on with nothing. You're losing your wife. You're going to never see your kid again. At that time, I only had one. You're going to lose your job, and you're going to, do something along those lines all alone. That's it. Or you can get sober. And for me, that was it was just two shitty options. I didn't want either one of them. So I had to pick one. I picked the grim outlook of, I'm going to have to go be sober with these dickheads. This is going to suck. These dorks, they're not, I'm not even a virgin. How am I going to hang out with these guys? Type of thing. And here you are, scared to death of getting sober, right? And that was my biggest fear. That was the biggest hurdle, not doing that. Once that was removed, once I was sober, I began to see things differently. And that kind of has just never stopped. I've never stopped seeing things in a brighter, better, man, this is only like fully accepting these principles has allowed me to uh, just have this life that I never knew I always wanted. It's what I mentioned when we got started today. Like that's what this has been.
Yep.
It's not what I thought it was going to be. It's not, look, I say this a lot too, man. If this wasn't better, if this wasn't more fun, if I wasn't having a freaking blast, I'm a selfish person still. Like if I'm not having fun and enjoying the shit out of my life, I'm gonna get drunk again. I'm just gonna do that, right? The reason that I haven't, I guess, relapsed or I haven't gone backwards is because this is better.
Yep.
And I put guys like you in my life. You put you in my life, and we support each other in a lot of different ways. And it's just allowed for that continuous growth of betterment, right? That's
Yep.
what like if I don't have that, man, I'm drinking again. That's it.
Yeah, I'm
It
done
has to be
settling.
that way for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not half-assing this life. This opportunity is not gonna get half-assed by me
Yeah.
anymore. I'm
Right.
just not gonna do it. And I think living that way has made things a lot easier because certain things just fall away that don't fit into that model. I
Hmm.
don't really have to do a lot of taking away of things or kicking people out of my life. It just doesn't fit in, and it just falls away on its own.
Yeah.
I get to carry on this path, and the other, the bullshit that doesn't fit into that, it's just like it ricochets off. It doesn't fit, it's out. I don't even have to work that hard to remove it. It just doesn't fit. So there's not a lot for me to bitch about it today.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have a lot of, I don't have a lot of, I don't have a lot of complaints. You know.
Yep. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. It's it just
But it
this
definitely
sounds a little funny. It
also,
keeps on getting easier because of like you said, things just when my compass, like I said earlier, when my compass needle is pointed in my true north and I'm walking this walk and I'm in the flow, I don't have to worry about the things like what you were saying. I just begin to decide that no, I'm not stopping at Taco Bell and McDonald's,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm going to put this nicotine to the side. And
Hmm.
these people over here that are not aligning with my principles, I don't really have to
Hmm.
tell them that. I don't have to say you go away.
Yeah.
They just kind of drift off.
Yeah. It
And
just
it
doesn't
just
fit.
begins to flow in my direction. When you were saying something, I want to point out there again because I like the analogies. Not only am I living this life that I really really love, and that I continue to peek around the corner with a smile on my face and optimism of what's coming next too. There's an outlook
Yeah.
in life where today, uh, frankly, I had, and that is like if I look back to where I was and to where I'm at today, optimism and for life and enthusiasm for life is something that I never really ever had.
Yeah. And
I might be
that's
enthusiastic
exactly right.
about the next party or the next whatever, or the next, and I thought that was enthusiasm. But today
Hmm.
it really is a pure enthusiasm for what's around the corner,
Yeah. And
even under the
this
current
process,
conditions.
yeah. Even in this situation, it's still the work that I've done so far has prepared me to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's what I've gotten, you know, used to. Your new normal becomes. I mean, that's how we grow, right? That's how anybody gets better at something. You have to stretch out into an uncomfortable area for a
Hmm.
little while until that area becomes comfortable, and then your comfort zone grows. Like what I'm comfortable with today is something that would have been unfathomable 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would never have been like comfortable just not knowing. Like, well, I mean, I've changed jobs since I've gotten sober, and there's a lot of, there's insecurities there. My wife and I have done some real estate projects that, we've jumped into. There's some insecurities there. We don't know how to do everything we're doing really that well, but we're doing it anyway. And we're getting better at it because of it, because we've gotten comfortable just accepting the fact that we're going to do this uncomfortable, and it gets easier. So I don't think that when we do this work properly, it gets any easier. I think we genuinely get stronger.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I think that as we go on, it's not any easier to be sober,
Yeah. Right. Right. Just
but
like lifting 50 pounds, 50 pounds didn't get lighter.
it didn't get lighter.
I
It's
got
the same
stronger.
way you got stronger. And that's what happens to us when we do this work. That's what these 12 steps teach us to do, you know, in my opinion. That's
Yeah.
been my
I
experience
like
thus
that
far. So,
analogy. I like that thought process on the way this thing goes. You know, I was talking the other day, or I don't remember, the last couple of days, I was having a conversation about somebody about how all these other behaviors are like a self-soothing. When you're a kid, one of the things about like that you've got a little kid, sometimes you got to let that little kid scream a little bit, right? So
hmm,
that they will learn to calm themselves. Because if you
yeah,
continually go in there and calm them, they don't learn to do that, right? And
right.
they have to be,
Yep.
that is at like the the beginning of our creation. That's when we're real little. And
Yep.
that we begin. Now, if we're not taught that, it can be a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then what, to some extent, what's happened to me is what that I went on down through life and I really didn't understand, but, you know, I reached for things to self-soothe. When I wasn't comfortable, I needed this. I need to buy a new this. I need to drink some of that. I need to smoke some of this, snort some of
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, any number of things, eat some of that, have sex with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, any number of things that I'm always just like scooping in, trying to self-comfort rather than just sit into discomfort for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of this sobriety stuff, like you just said, you know, some of this is actually recognizing that, yes, I'm uncomfortable. Yes, this is going to pass in a little bit. I do not need to reach for something to soothe me right now. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I need to sit still and meditate for a few minutes. Maybe I need to go to work out a little bit. Maybe I just need to sit here and feel it for a minute. Maybe I need to
Yeah.
cry. Maybe I
Yeah.
need to scream.
I'm a big fan of the uh, like no pain, no gain type of attitude, which we kind of has gotten to be a not so popular opinion. We've gotten to, like, you know, you see, I'm going to use workout analogies or training analogies because that's what I do a lot of. But I'm a big fan. Like, I bet probably most of the time when I'm working out, I'm sore or hurt some kind of way. And, you know, my shoulders hurt, my legs are still sore. I've got, you know, delayed onset muscle soreness from a previous, you know, heavy lift day. If I don't go in there and work out when I'm sore, it's always going to be, you know, difficult. I'm never going to get comfortable doing it when it counts, you know. And that's why, like, you know, I was running the other day, and I ran a little bit further than I, I wanted to. My calf muscles were just like starting to get really cramped because I hadn't been out in a while, and like it hit me that I've done this before. I've gone through this difficult thing, this difficult time before, and it's like it's just a practice like anything else. You have to get used to doing difficult shit, and that's the difference maker, in my opinion, between, you know, the people who uh, I guess have luckier experiences in sobriety, especially. You know, we have to continue to do the difficult things. I mean, that's something you told me that a long time ago, and I like held on to that, and that's been one of my tenets of sobriety. We do difficult things, and if I keep that at the forefront of my, um, I guess, spiritual path, that this is going to be difficult and it's going to be okay. Uh, I mean, that's one of the things that's made everything else great. The fact that I focus on the difficult things. It's just, I don't know. It's been, I guess, for me, one of the easier ways to live. I guess just to do it. Go ahead and just do it difficultly. To do the difficult shit. You know. I mean, I never want to work out most days. I don't want. I don't want to. You know. But you know, the more I do it, when it sucks, it's easier. It's easier to do when it counts.
Yeah. You
And
know,
I mean, I hate to say, you know, this is a difficult time, I think, for a lot of people, and I feel weird saying this, but this has been easy, man. This difficult time this is easy. You know, I feel like I've done some difficult shit. You know, getting sober was one of them. That was something I never thought I would be able to do. But you
yeah.
know, in hindsight, this is a cakewalk compared to some of the shit that I've done in the past 3 years. I mean, and this too shall pass, like everything else, you know. But we have to sit with the difficult, you know, thing, whatever it is. It's usually up in our heads, you know. That's why
Sure.
meditation, I think, is so important. And we overcomplicate the shit out of that. We think we have to do some sort of thing. Like for me, man, meditation is
Yeah. I
just
need to
sit the
float up
fuck
off
still.
the pillow.
Just sit still. Just stay for 10 minutes. Just stay there. It's difficult. My knees hurt. My back is uncomfortable. Just sit there. If you can do that for 10 minutes, it's going to make everything else in your day so much easier. And it doesn't have to be some complicated thing. Just do the one thing you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's why I try to
Sit
simplify
there for,
meditation for people, and I don't wait till we're at step 11 when I'm working with somebody. One of my very first questions out of the gates, where you at with prayer and meditation? Because we're going to get you started on both right now. And I don't care if it's 2 minutes in the morning for the day.
Yeah.
Just start, begin.
Yeah.
Because if you don't begin somewhere, I think listen to some people talk about meditating for an hour. Meditate, well, frankly, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do a lot of that, but I do need to do
That's a
5 or 10.
long time.
My stuff is 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and probably
Yeah.
more closer to 5 actually nowadays. I don't do big long meditations. Uh, I you know I get some stillness in my life though throughout the day. Where I
Mm-hmm.
stop for a minute here and there and chill and just turn off for a few minutes. And that, to me, that's meditation, right? And again, I'm gonna allow you your own conception, right? But
Yeah.
there's really not an option in my book as far as like having that in your life. You said something about doing this. Yesterday, I send out a quote every day with my day count for how many days I've been sober and how many days I've been nicotine free. I do it for 2 reasons. I do it as an accountability thing, and I do it as a promise to the universe and you guys
Mm-hmm.
and the people I'm talking to that I'm going to stay abstinent for this day. Not
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. I ain't promising you tomorrow. Promising you today.
Right.
A lot of people, they taught me to do that in the nicotine quitting world, and a lot of people just send a number, and I just get a single number from a lot of people. But I don't know. I had to do things a little different, right? Terminally unique. Yesterday's quote was, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." That's Seneca,
Definitely.
and I had to see who he is. I know you've been you
He's a
posted a thing about
he's a
posted a thing
Stoic
about
philosopher. Yeah.
also along with what's his name? Say it.
Yeah. Epictetus is one
Is
of
it?
the Stoics that I read a lot. But Seneca's a great one too. Yeah.
Yeah. I see a lot of both of those come across my different depositories that feed me these quotes.
Yeah.
And that's just exactly. I mean, I'm just as happy. Well, the other thing is what I think. I don't know. One of them other guys said is you're just as happy as you make up your mind to be.
Yeah.
That's just like that. We suffer more in our imagination than in our reality. I do get to make my own reality today to some level, to a great level. And if I want to sit around
Yeah.
and panic and get my panties in a big wad about this whole thing that's going on, I'm free to do that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
It
Welcome
doesn't.
to
Yeah.
go ahead and be miserable if you want.
It doesn't serve me to operate that way. And
Yeah.
and again, throw out some more of that. Buddhist thing says you got to let go of the things that don't serve me. Well, it don't serve me for me to get myself. I spent a lot of time getting myself. I loved it when something got hopped up. And we had an emergency to deal with. Meant I could buy some shit in the name of and I could do that self-soothing through consumerism.
Oh yeah.
And
I could excuse.
I could justify it too. I could say, really, and it's interesting when I watch and I see that. And again, I try really hard not to judge, but I do watch and I listen. And when I hear some of that justification underneath of some of this, frankly, panic buying,
Mm-hmm.
I got a family to take care of. Well, you and a million other people, one of my favorite things I saw lately is this whole badge. I need to make badges that says I'm essential. Because that's another little badge of honor lately of where I'm at in civilization. What numbers are on the back of my car is like Bob Earl would say. We ride down the road and we look at the emblems on the back and the numbers on the back of people's cars, and we assign each other where we're at in the hierarchy of the human race according to what you drive and what model it is. And that essential thing. I saw something just the last couple of days that said, right now saying I'm essential is like going to the strip club and the stripper telling you you're her favorite. Essential. But it's interesting to watch how how different people are approaching this, even within the recovery community.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
I'm working with a guy down in Texas, and that's a new territory too. I'm sponsoring a dude that lives in Dumas, Texas, and that's 60 miles outside of Amarillo. Yeah, I want it to be dumbass Texas so bad.
I was gonna say that's tough to not.
He just sent me the thing because we were talking about it. And he said, "Yeah, I know." And the high school is the Demons, so they're the Dumas Demons.
Oh, and, sure.
Yeah, I told him about that.
Why wouldn't they be?
cultural appropriations, man. They've appropriated
Yeah,
the demons. The demons are going to get hopped up about that. You can't be stealing their identities and putting it on your damn basketball jersey.
it's
You'll pay for
Demas,
that.
not
It's
Demas.
Dumas
Yeah,
is what he says. But they're still having face-to-face meetings down there, but they limit it. And if you're number 11 dude in the door, out of luck, brother. So they're
that's a
doing it.
bummer.
Yeah, they have 10 people, but he can still go to face to face. But that dude is driving 60 miles to go to most of his meetings.
Wow. Yeah.
60 miles to go to a
See,
meeting.
so I'm talking about. We're lucky. Man, we're lucky we got them in our backyard. So,
Yeah, and then the flip side of it
well,
is, Texas guys, they're like, okay, we ain't shutting down the face to face meetings. We're still going to have them, but we're going to limit to 10. That wouldn't be bad, Them small meetings are usually pretty decent when you can limit how many people are in them.
yeah.
But it just is interesting how the different things are going. I saw yesterday, and I do have some personal. This is some of my selfishness, uh, because I do. I'm doing this self-employed thing, and if I'm not out working, I'm not making money. Nobody's sending me a paycheck unless I'm out hammering a nail or knocking together some wood or doing something.
Right.
And I know a lot of people are like that too. Not that I'm unique there, but um, the somebody posted it yesterday that like the Home Depots and stuff are only allowing a certain number of people in the store at a time.
Hmm.
But I didn't see anything about that officially. But like I said, I have a feeling this is going to keep on cranking down tighter and tighter, little by little, because I don't think, uh, I'll tell you my real opinion. I don't think we have any fucking control over this one way or the other. We can socially isolate or not socially isolate. This thing is going to run its course the way it's going to run its course, no matter what our little human pea heads think we can do about it. It's like trying to make the sun not come up tomorrow, or trying to stop global warming, or stop the tides, or we're gonna sit down here and piddle around like we do, uh, like
Yeah.
ants carrying their leaves into the deal, and the world is going to do what the world's going to do.
Yeah. I have some opinions about all this and the way we should handle it and what we should do. And I don't know, man. Any other time, not any other time anymore. I just don't feel like really. I'll voice those opinions to my wife, just to get it out. But it's not worth it. It's
Yeah,
not
I
really.
understand.
It's not. It doesn't not helped me that much to
Yeah, I'm just trying to follow the guidelines as
do.
they're laid out. I'll do that. That goes against every piece of fiber of my being to some extent to follow the rules. But I'll
Hmm.
try to follow the rules the best that I can. But I mean, like from a standpoint of the powerlessness is where I was going. It's just another thing where we're
Yeah.
powerless over it, and it really doesn't mean. I can complain and voice my opinion about what I think the president of the United States oughta not to do. Not describing this pandemic, just any time, any place, what the mayor ought to
Yeah.
do, who ought to do, what you ought to do. Uh, really doesn't make a lot of damn
Hmm.
difference. Frankly, I put it in the category of burning energy foolishly. And my
Yeah.
megabytes, I got
It's
someplace else that's better to spend my megabytes that I have available to use today.
that's definitely it for me, man. It's like I could talk about somebody that I don't like or disagree with if I wanted to, and I could tell you a lot of really good reasons of why I'm right. you know, but it's not really a good place for me to put my energy. There's a lot of other places that I can put it that are much more fulfilling, not just for me, but for other people as well. I mean, and that's again goes back to the fact that I have a more of a purpose today. That's not just about me feeling better. You know, it's about and I say this a lot too. My purpose is not to be, I don't wake up in the morning and think I need to be happy today. Some days I'm happy. Some days are harder and I'm not as happy. But that's not the point. I don't really care about that. Either way, I have a purpose today. And I'll take having a purpose filled life over being happy any day.
Yep.
Any day. I mean, I've got a reason today. I've got meaning and purpose. And that is way more satisfying than just being happy. Because with every happiness comes an inevitable lull or sadness. the only reason I know happiness is because I've experienced sadness in the same
Yep.
same same light. So it
Yep.
doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be sad sometimes, and that's just something that I've learned to accept. And with that acceptance, comes a lot more. Um, I think purpose is an overall goal.
Yep.
For me. But anyway,
I like to have a purpose. I like to have a mission in my life. Have something, some aims, maybe multiple missions. That got this and I got that, and really mean it and actually pursue those things with a passion and towards the. Frankly, some of that and a big portion of my life is wrapped up in doing that for in service and without any expectations of anything in return.
yeah,
There's really nothing satisfies me. Nothing brings as much fulfillment to my soul as participating in my recovery, whether that means sponsoring somebody or running one of these Zoom meetings or doing a podcast or doing those kind of things. Those are the kind of things that fulfill me. I have other things that do it too. I mean, I can actually say what I do for a living today fulfills me.
hmm
Some days more than others, and some
yeah,
activities more than others. But yeah, to be having that, and that was that Rick Warren wrote that book some long time ago, A Purpose Driven Life.
hmm
And back when I saw that, I cried foul,
yeah,
preacher, bullshit, uh,
yeah,
just wants my money. Maybe I
hmm
should go back and revisit that book.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like I feel like it's important to say that because so much of our lives are spent asking each other if we're happy or not. Like, are you doing okay? Are you happy? Is what I'm really, a lot of times asking. And I mean, I think it should be known that it's okay, especially for an alcoholic. When I say alcoholic, I mean alcoholic, addict, whatever.
Yep.
I think it should be known that if you know we're not here to be happy, like that's not the primary focus. I think you
It's a
should know
byproduct.
one that it is a byproduct. You will be happy. You will also be sad, and you will also we get the full spectrum of emotions when we do this stuff the right way, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna get all of it.
Yeah.
Happiness is going to be one of them, but you're also going to be angry. You're going to be scared. You're going to get you are going to get life if you do this the right way.
Yep.
That is my hope for anybody who starts to do this work, whether they're alcoholic, addict, or not. You know,
Yep.
uh, anybody who really does this should be prepared to get all of it.
Yep.
It's
We
very much
get to feel
the
our
red.
feelings.
Yeah, you get all of it. It's the truth though, and that's way better than any false reality that we get to try to make up with what we feed ourselves with the media and other bullshit that's out there to stimulate that urge. But
Yeah.
it's not true. We get the point of this is to seek out the truthfulness. It is very much this work is very much almost a revolution on truth.
Yep.
Seeking.
Yep.
Anyway.
Definitely is. It's that Brett Weinstein's thing. It's for me, for this dude. It's giving me a way to make sense of this thing. It's a sense making apparatus that I can operate with and operate with a great deal of personal success. And that personal success is not monetarily, although some of it may come that way. It's more of a fulfilled way of being giving me a purpose for my life.
I think it
And I
can be
never could.
monetary. I mean,
That's a certain piece of it is. Just a
yeah,
lot of times
I
when the
think,
word success is used, a lot of times people will instantly pigeonhole that to meaning that it's a money making proposition.
yeah,
Success goes way beyond that. Yes, there is some monetary success in my life with that. There's some
yeah,
spiritual success. There's some parental success. There's some success of being a better child to my parent, my dad.
yeah,
There's a whole bunch of success that happens. It's
sure.
not just limited to monetary.
I think I mean, we could talk about the money thing for a minute because it is, I think, especially, it was for me when I came into the program. I thought, uh, when I read the promises and it said that fear of economic insecurity was going to leave us, I was like, all right, finally, I'll just, finally be able to keep some of the money that I make rather than spend it on booze and other stupid stuff. So if I get sober, I'll have money, and then I'll be happy, and this will be doable. I can do this if I have money, right? That was a big part of what I mean. That, to be honest with you, that kept me coming for a little while. It kept me. It was a motivating thing. So
Hmm.
I don't want to say that it's uh, not okay. I mean, yeah, money is a big motivator,
Yeah.
and I
And we
think
have to have
it's
it, frankly. You can't get along
yeah, and
without it very well.
it's important. I think it should be a primary focus. It is a good part of having a fulfilled life. It's not the only part, um, and I want to say that it's not an evil thing either. I don't think that it's even in my opinion, the only people who think money is evil are broke. A lot of times, it's just like, yeah, if you think money is evil, you just have a resentment
Yeah.
towards
And
money.
the old saying is the love of money, not necessarily the money
It,
itself, is the
yeah.
old thing.
Having said that, I think when we continue to do this work, you begin to realize that things like money are not, again, they're just, it's just another thing. The fear of economic insecurity leaving us is that money's just not as big of a deal as it used to be. you
Yep.
know
I'm actually making less money than I ever have in quite a few years. Quite a few years. And
hmm
I'm pretty happy about it.
yeah.
uh, there's a difference in that just for me. Again, I'll speak for me. I hung a whole lot of my self esteem and who I was and my self worth on the dollars I made for some period of time in my life, and
Me too.
letting go of that measuring stick in my life was very freeing. Obviously, like we said, you still got to pay the bills and you still got to eat, and all that stuff takes money, and it's a necessary thing in life. It's a way we operate and exchange things today. But things of value is through the use of money. But and I'd have told you a couple years ago, could you get by with less money? I'd have told you I couldn't. I said, "Ooh, that'd be tough." I don't know if I can do
Yeah.
that or not.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
but, but I've taken a huge pay cut if I look at the actual numbers. I mean, I'm probably making 50% of what I was making a year ago. Not a year ago now. It had to be 2 years because I've been off that job but yeah, a year ago because I was still getting paid through severance and stuff. Uh, and it still seems to be just fine.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. That pendulum swung the other way too. I always thought when I got that next big raise that would be enough, or if I could only
Yep.
make this much money. Or I remember coming out of high school going, if I could just get a job that paid me this, I'd be okay forever.
hmm
And then once I
Yeah.
got that, I said, no, that ain't enough either. Uh, I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. I did
Yep.
have that diminishing returns thing happen in my life where the higher I rose to the ranks and was making more money, the less happy I was. The extra work, I always remember when I was working hourly, there was a point where when you work so many overtime hours that like it was good. And then when you
Yeah.
tipped over to the top, it became not good anymore. It's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I don't know I can't remember even really if it was taxes or just sheer freaking exhaustion where it made it not
Yeah.
worth it
It's not
anymore.
worth it anymore.
So hold on, man. I have tipped over the edge, and this isn't worth it anymore. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I used money as a, all those things. I remember whenever I was still drinking, and my wife would be pissed off about me being drunk, and I would always fall back. I was like, well, I made enough money today, so it's like, it's not a big deal if
yeah,
I'm wasted while I did it. I'm making money, so everything's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a big,
What are you
and
complaining about?
yeah,
I'm doing this
whenever I
kind of. I
first,
take care of my kids.
whenever I first got sober, those were, I thought, if I'm not gonna drink, if you're taking away the booze from me, then I gotta have something else. So at least I'll give myself, money, and I'm gonna get in the best shape ever. I'll give myself those two things, and that really helped me a lot. However, it's changed. I still try to make money, and I still try to stay in shape, but the reasons, the purpose,
All right.
the aim has changed. the direction is different.
Yeah.
And that's why, you could say about, I think a lot of people would have this experience, as they get into sobriety a little bit further, is that, everything has changed and nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that is pretty much the same, but it's just, the lens through which I look at it is different.
Yep. I'm in the same
Everything,
house. I got some of the same clothes. I've been driving the same car. I have most of the same stuff.
yeah,
A lot, if you look at me, if you would come and take an inventory of me, frankly,
yeah,
there's not that much different than when I got sober.
right.
But a ton of shit is different.
Mm-hmm.
Huge emotional displacements and rearrangements.
Yeah. And the relationships, another thing too, man. I remember, I mean, even the way that I like see my wife is different than, I have the same wife, lucky to have the same wife. And, um, I always felt like she should have left. She didn't for whatever reason, but, I look at her differently too. It's like I see someone else, I guess, in a way. It's just that everything looks different. It changes everything. I don't know. It's hard to articulate some of the like emotional gratitudes that you can experience
It
doing this
is.
stuff if you do it the right way. But
Yeah. Frankly, our words fall short.
yeah, it definitely does. I don't know. It's difficult to. I don't even know if it's worth it to really. We just have to do it. You just have to be grateful.
Yeah.
That's it.
What's the? It really comes down to the fruits of the labor. It's not the labor. It's like the demonstrating this thing, and you see it, and you know it, and you look in the eyes of people who are doing the deal, and you see that proof. You see it in the smiles. You see it in the smiles of their family. You see it in the way they operate. There's an aura around people who are doing the deal, and that's attractive. That's what attracted me to this group that we're with today from the get go. Nothing you could see, really. Wasn't because of the way somebody dressed or the car they drove or even what they said. Really, it
Right.
was more about their being that I sensed and said, yeah. That's attractive to me. That right there is something that, and I didn't even really totally intellectualize that. It was more of a magnetic draw that the universe put on me rather than something I went, okay, Dan, I'm gonna set a goal to do that. It's like you said,
Yeah.
that was kind of like the luck. It was lucky that I landed, in that regard. Lucky that I landed in that room that day.
Yeah. I feel like an asshole if I don't call it luck. I would say that. I feel like a real
Yeah,
dickhead. I do. If I don't say that I'm lucky that you called me that day
yeah, I
and
see what
asked
you
me if
mean,
I
man.
wanted to go to like I didn't have anything to do with you picking up the phone and thinking I'm going to call Chase, see how he's doing, and I was sitting in my car, wasted, crying, not knowing how to do life at all, and you said, "Hey, you want to go do yoga with me?" And I was like, "Nah, I fucking can't. I can't do it. I'm not in good shape at all." And then the conversation about rehab started. And then I was like, I need to do it. I got to go. 2 days later, I'm in a rehab. I wake
Yeah,
up in a psych ward.
yeah.
My life changed. And that's luck, man. If I don't call it luck, I feel like a real dick.
Yeah, I
That's
see what you mean. Yeah. Well, ultimately, what you're doing is not taking credit for it.
Yeah.
Not calling it luck, and it's kind of the same thing as saying higher power did this for me or whatever. It's a discounting of
Yep.
the credit. It's not me. I try to say that all the time when I'm doing this stuff. This is not
Yep.
me doing this. It really is not.
Yeah.
Might look
I'm
like
just
Dan
calling it.
sitting here, but
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
not
calling it
driving.
luck. You can call it higher power or whatever,
Yep.
you want to call it. It's something that I didn't have anything to do with.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Other than I just mucked things up enough to be able to be lucky, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit the wall hard enough, knock some luck out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I'm going
Yeah.
90 mile an hour on dope and booze. Kapow! Oh shit!
Yeah. You get to be lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, it's a half hour before my appointment, and I just wanted to I think I'm going to try to swing through some people and do some updating and some talking and chatting about what recovery means in their lives today. Um, it is, what another thing keeps hitting me. I keep on going, I laugh at myself, and I'm glad that my default today, and even when I'm mad or frustrated, it might take a minute, but I generally will end up with a smile on my face, even when the hardest thing is happening to me. When I think it's the bad luck,
Mm-hmm.
when things go, and I've had a couple of times, like, well, the retreat in that we do in May, and I'm looking at the possibility of canceling that, and then of course, and right in the back door, standing around the corner of that is just fuck it, just why am I even doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the podcast. When the podcast gets a little difficult and I have to do this virtual way, I'm ready to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Like, well, we'll just back burner this thing. Fuck, I'm pretty busy anyway, and I've been looking for some way to free up some of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Here, maybe this is it. Maybe this is my opportunity to free up some of my time. But I smile at myself and realize that's that old thinking that wants to throw in the towel when things get a little sticky, and rather than walk through whatever it is that's not my routine. It's got me a little knocked out of my comfort zone. To smile at that and realize that's an opportunity for me to grow and to once again tackle something that's not maybe it ain't hard, but it ain't as easy as it used to be.
It's not as easy as you want it to be.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, cool, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Period.
Yeah, man.
I can stop with a lot of those sentences. I realize I start putting qualifiers on the end of things that, like I said, your own conception of to improve my conscious contact. I appreciate you. I don't have to add to those sentences.
Thank
There's
you for
nothing needs to
being
come
you.
on the backside of it.
That's right.
I want to put a big, some bullet points behind all that shit, right? I don't have to. I can leave that dot at the end of those sentences. But I do appreciate you coming on this morning and helping me walk this walk. We do this thing together, and when it was lucky that I just thought in my head. I went, hey, what am I going to do about? I'll see if Chase wants to do an update. Man, it was a long
I'm
time
glad
since
you
he's
did,
been
man.
on the show.
I think it was good for me to get to talk to my sponsor we've been talking for 2 hours, so
yeah, right.
That's the most we've talked in a while. That's
It also has a side, some like I always say on there, so got some collateral benefit that was not necessarily the intended benefit. Absolutely,
definitely. And this is a difficult time, I realize, for a lot of people, and I just want to say that all it takes to have a meeting is just pick up the phone, have a conversation with another alcoholic, and that is a meeting. How we do it. So
and this technology thing, everybody in the world's got this Zoom. This is free for most people. You're limited to so many participants and 40 minutes, I think, per session. But hell, you can get a lot done in 40 minutes if you want to see somebody, because there is an element to that seeing you that miss. I've done these podcasts through that thing called Zencaster or something like that, where it's just complete audio. And it works too. It's no big deal, but I do like to look at you because you're pretty.
Thanks, man. You too. It's more fun for sure.
Yeah. I can see the smiles and I can see the expressions and I can see, like, I can kind of feed off of you and that kind of thing. And of course, I'm full of shit half the time. If you don't see me, you don't necessarily know it. Even when you see me, you don't know it necessarily.
Yeah, that's true.
If I got a smile on my face, you at least know I'm joking.
Right. It's hard to tell sometimes. There's no inflection in the video in the audio, but
well, cool, man.
It's a good thing you're doing. I'm glad you're doing it, and keep it on, man. Keep coming back.
Yeah, man. Cool. We'll have a great Monday. We're starting off on Monday morning here. And hell, I started the other day. I went, you maybe what I ought to do instead of backing off on the podcast, maybe since I have this option and it's so easy, maybe I ought to be doing more of them. I could do this. I could do half-hour episodes like this with talking to somebody, and we wouldn't have to go 2 hours. And hell, I could pile on rather than back
2 hours
off.
flies by, though.
It
2
does. It
hours
flies by. It does. When
Yeah.
you're doing this, man, it does. It really does. It's just like sitting down doing step work. I say, hey, man, why don't you come over for an hour? And the next thing you know, it's 2.
2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your Monday. I love you. And
Love you too, man.
we'll rock this thing out. I'll close in the same way I always do. You used this word earlier, man. If you're not having a blast in your recovery, it's your own damn fault.
That's right.
Thank all y'all for allowing Chase and I to participate in our recoveries in this manner today. Peace out.
See you guys.